Blessed love. Yo, I wanted to do a little quick, part two to the first video that I did in terms of the demonstration of showing different videos, various videos of how the gut lining works and how when we have certain mucoid or like an excess in mucus lining in our stomachs, in our guts, it actually creates like a film, like a gelatinous film. It tends to be like a rubber substance called the mucoidal plaque. And what is connected to what's connected to some of that, it kind of basically allows for certain parasites, certain bacteria to actually live within the system, within the colon system. And these parasitic beings actually act in stripping your body of certain minerals that you essentially need. For example, like selenium. Some parasites actually take selenium from the body, and then the body then has to use something else. For example, like mercury, which it registers as something similar to selenium. So, and mercury isn't right. It's not good for your cells. So, at least in the amounts that are given, in foods and stuff like that. So what I decided I'll do is show just a little bit about the parasites, just a little bit about that, and go into how some of them actually are able to take control of the nervous system and affect our behaviors, our moods, our choices of what we are doing, people we talk to, even to that degree, what foods we eat, right? What we allow into our customs. So and in itself, you can see that as the alien invasion, if you want to go into that, right? The alien invasion took place. Some people say the alien invasion took place on Earth, right? But it starts within. Always starts within, and I'm gonna go through a little process here of how to, demonstration or showing how these beings, because they would have their own spiritual correspondence as well, because as above, so below. I've had experiences of dealing with some of these in the spiritual realm and the physical realm simultaneously. So when I remove certain implants, certain parasites, when I would deal with that stuff, I would actually, for me personally, when I was going through process of healing myself, I would notice, like my body would actually do its own cleansing after I do like a spiritual cleanse, right? So, and this is to basically kind of like, I'm going around basically, showing you how the invasion is possible through the body, how it has spiritual effects on the system. So always remember to bring everything to a spiritual and also like a mind system. Also bring it inside of yourself, so the reality in itself, the external reality, is a projection of your internal system, your internal world, whether you see it as inside of your body, physical body, or inside of your mental space, right? So let's go into it a bit. I'm gonna screen share. Just a bit. Hold on. All right, let me get into this screen share. Okay. All right. So in this video here, this is the beginning of basically illustrating or explaining or showing, displaying how some parasites actually affect animals and they also affect humans as well. So yeah, we have nature is, you know, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting how everything interacts with each other. It's very dual in its sense, but it's also very harmonious if you choose to see it in that way. So let's go into
Which
it.
of these entities has evolved the ability to manipulate an animal many times its size? The answer is all of them.
Okay, so let me just put a disclaimer. This is not in any way to freak out anyone. If you feel a little squeamish about these topics, please do not watch any further because it could, you know. But what I'll do is I'll put a force field basically for anyone who's watching this, so it doesn't have like that kind of, well, have like an effect, a negative effect in the mind system. We're just here to observe the actuality of certain beings within the system. Don't freak out about, because they've always been there. We've had them from time of birth, even at times, right? Some of them would have been passed through from our parents as well, some of the bacteria. So yeah, and in it is really to just bring conscious awareness of it, so that you can give them a choice as to whether they choose to move forward in ascension with you or they choose to leave. Right?
These are all parasites, organisms that live on or inside another host organism, which they harm and sometimes even kill. Parasite survival depends on transmitting from one host to the next, sometimes through an intermediate species. Our parasites elegantly achieve this by manipulating their host's behavior, sometimes through direct brain hijacking. For example, this is the Gordian worm. One of its hosts, this cricket. The Gordian worm needs water to mate, but the cricket prefers dry land. So once it's big enough to reproduce, the worm produces proteins that garble the cricket's navigational system. The confused cricket jumps around erratically, moves closer to water, and eventually leaps in, often drowning in the process. The worm then wriggles out to mate, and its eggs get eaten by little water insects that mature, colonize land, and are in turn eaten by new crickets. And thus the Gordian worm lives on. And here's the rabies virus, another mind-altering parasite.
Okay, so imagine again, like something so small is able to basically hijack your nervous system, because there would be inside of like these creatures gut system, and they move through the bloodstream into the blood-brain barrier, into the brain, are able to basically, again, as they say, hijack the navigational systems. Yeah, the point in all this is are most of us really in control of our ships? Are we really? Or is something else in control? Right?
This virus infects mammals, often dogs, and travels up the animal's nerves to its brain, where it causes inflammation that eventually kills the host.
Right.
But before it does, it often increases its host's aggressiveness and ramps up the production of rabies-transmitting saliva, so known as the zombie, when it does.
Okay, so this one is very interesting. This one actually started me partly on my journey to like research the whole thing with like parasites and stuff inside the body. Not just parasites, but like certain types of fungus or fungi. Like for example, the candida, things like strep, I've even gone to the whole awareness, even in some aspects of my journey of awakening, and being able to scan, even being able to see certain parasites in the spiritual realm, and essentially I'll be able to look at the energy both in somebody else, and actually be able to tell you, well, I see like something chomping down on the solar plexus, and then they later find out that is H. pylori, which actually eats it lowers the stomach acid, and then it also eats at the gut lining. So yeah, and then that causes a whole series of problems, because then the gut isn't able to digest the food properly, and then you got fermentation inside of the system. So this one here is a very interesting one, the zombie.
We'll meet Ophiocordyceps, also known as the zombie fungus. Its host of choice is tropical ants that normally live in treetops. After Ophiocordyceps spores pierce the ant's exoskeleton, they set off convulsions that make the ant fall from the tree. The fungus changes the ant's behavior, compelling it to wander mindlessly until it stumbles onto a plant leaf with the perfect fungal breeding conditions, which it latches onto. The ant then dies, and the fungus parasitizes its body to build a tall, thin stalk from its neck. Within several weeks, the stalk shoots off spores, which turn more ants into six-legged, leaf-seeking zombies. One of humanity's most deadly assailants is a behavior-altering parasite. Though if it's any consolation,
Right, so show you how they're able to alter
it's not
the
our
behavior.
Brains that are being hijacked. I'm talking about plasma,
have a mosquito as a sniper rifle,
which causes malaria. This parasite needs mosquitoes to shuttle it between hosts, so it makes them bite more frequently and for longer. There's
right.
also evidence that humans infected with malaria are more attractive to mosquitoes, which will bite them and transfer the parasite further.
Wow.
This multi-species system is so effective that there are hundreds of millions of malaria cases every year. And finally, there are cats. Don't worry, there probably aren't any cats living in your body and controlling your thoughts. I mean, probably. But there is a microorganism called toxoplasma that needs both cats and rodents to complete its life cycle. When a rat gets infected by eating cat feces, the parasite changes chemical levels in the rat's brain, making it less cautious around the hungry felines, maybe even attracted to them.
Wow.
This makes them easy prey. So these infected rodents
bacteria, guys,
and pass the parasite on. Mind control successful.
There's mind control successful. All right. So yeah, it's definitely you can see why in the system they actually promote certain types of things, right? The glyphosate destroys the good bacteria within the system, creates an imbalance within the system. Then you have certain foods that just promote the growth of, so like fast foods and stuff, then just promote a lot of the bacteria that you don't necessarily want taking over your system, and that bacteria just only needs and it wants to consume a lot of the fast foods and a lot of the stuff that isn't really necessarily great for your system, especially if you want to high rise into a greater awareness of yourself and your consciousness ability, tuning into your higher self aspects and everything, right? Again, it is, I wouldn't say is like absolute in its necessity for a lot of people. I'm just sharing the path that I took, and I noticed like some others actually kind of are experiencing a lot of this. So okay, so this is the zombie parasite. I remember watching this on National Geographic, a couple of years ago when I was younger, and it freaked me out. Yeah, it freaked me out. I was like, yo, if any of this stuff gets away, we in a serious scene. But I mean, when I became more aware, you actually realize, yo, like this thing actually already happened, right? So you could go into the galactic history of different things, and people talk about the Dracos and all, the different entities, the Greys, everything, the Jinn. But again, the first layer is always within ourselves, right? The external force doesn't really necessarily, again, it all starts from the inside. We observe a projection, so it's a straight cut process to go within and deal with the inside, whether it be in the mind system, the body, and that in itself helps with the alignment of the external.
30,000 a second.
So this is the zombie parasite.
If just one of these spores lands in the right place and takes root, it can colonize a whole new area. But not all fungi feed on the dead. Days ago, a spore landed on this ant. Now she's acting strange. A network of roots has infiltrated her muscles. Her body has been taken over by cordyceps.
What's going on?
A parasitic fungus. It floods her brain with chemicals, drugging her, compelling her to head where conditions are perfect. Just the right amount of light, just the right amount of humidity for the parasite growing inside. It forces her to clamp down in a death bite, and cordyceps reveals its gruesome nature.
Gross, huh?
After 3 weeks of growth, cordyceps can release its own spores, infecting more ants.
I mean, they got some real dread, huh?
Infecting more ants, releasing more spores.
It's crazy how yeah, like
Infecting
how something very small could affect even very large beings.
ants. Infecting more ants.
Just skip over.
But more than just ants are at
Right,
risk.
so it's not just ants that they affect, right? Yeah, they affect other animals as well. Okay. Okay, let me see. All right. So let me stop share. All right, so that was just a little brief example on that topic and how certain beings are actually able to inhabit a host and control their behavior. So you see in the video when they talked about malaria actually changing the behavior of certain like mosquitoes, for example. I'm pretty curious to see if it actually also affects our brain chemistry, which I don't doubt that it does. I know Candida likes candy. Where you would all of a sudden just feel peckish. You feel like you need to get like some kind of sweet sugar. I mean, me all know like it still got a sweet tooth, but I I've basically worked on creating alternatives for those you know the processed sugars and stuff like that. You don't really, because it's those that they actually live off of, and they like, so like I would have said before, my whole experience with the strep in my face and like it basically be in your sinuses, so you would get like a tightening feeling in your sinuses and a lot of pain. Some people call it a sinus infection. Some people would get like, they would get candida, so they would get a lot of thrush on their tongue and stuff like that. So that's the fungus actually, right? The body detoxing itself on the tongue. So it kind of shows that it basically shows the situation that's going on within the gut area, right? In itself, I would say if you're using like any of the anything such as like any like parasite cleansers and stuff like that, must be aware and be mindful that these things may have been living in the system for a very long time. They could be inside and around the system. It's very interesting what you see with the perceptions of the third eye. I've seen many different things in regards to, I call it the battle phase, right? That's when I was like battling my ego, and I would be into like all the mechanics of like the art of war in the astrals and stuff like that. I would kind of like watch a lot of anime and actually like copy a lot of the martial arts techniques, and yeah, and it comes into a phase of actually moving out of a lot of that battling to the realization that battling yourself, and for a time isn't it, well, for a time it was necessary for me. I know a lot of people kind of be going through a lot of that stuff as well too. I would say, if you're using any of that stuff, like garlic, and take it easy on the system. Allow the system to 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 um, to eliminate these parasites if they are to be eliminated. I usually do like you could do like a little bargaining kind of thing as well too. I remember back then I actually wrote like on a piece of paper like a contract saying, like, and this was on a full moon, yeah, right. And it was like, like, I just started writing down everything, like all the parasites that are the bacteria that I felt was like out of whack and out of balance. Wrote down a contract and say, like, this, right, y'all have a choice. I'm wishing to go into ascension, and I asked the petition. I put a petition to my higher self, and a call to my guardians, higher self aspects, to source. Um, and then they wrote it down and burned the paper, signed my name and all that stuff, put the date, everything. In this moment of time, frame frequencies, and just burn the paper, put the ashes in water, and left it only for me. I remember clearing, like when I did that, I remember basically like after the full moon, offering the water to the earth. And actually, hey, within that like within a half an hour of actually doing that, I noticed like, yo, I cleared out so much stuff cleared out, man. Like a full purge. It was intense. And I remember like, yo, my higher self was like, yo, this is just for a time, but it's necessary. So I would say, yeah, it can be pretty intense depending on the situation of your system. I would say go easy, but don't go too easy either, because well, the okay, so one of the first times that I did a cleanse, I attempted to do a cleanse. I actually noticed like every time I decided like everything will be going peachy, fine, good, dandy. And then like a day before the cleanse, 2 days before the cleanse, and me just making the decision to do this cleanse, it's like everything I just I go here wire, like everything I just not work out for me to get this cleanse done. I couldn't find the herbs, I couldn't find this, I couldn't get the right type of water and stuff like that. Like, right? But so it's like, again, is that ego system, and I think these parasites actually interact with that egoic system, and because they're of a lower frequency, they're of a certain frequency, so they always try to keep you at a certain frequency. So you within your mind system would be able to potentially go to a higher level, but they kind of like create like it's like a governor or a cap, maybe on a higher level. I know that it in itself is again like a training ground system or scenario, right? A governor in itself, to because imagine you fully activated with the mindset system that you have currently, or that humanity has currently, and everybody activated with Kundalini and could fly and all that stuff. Like, it'd be insane. Like, it wouldn't, it would implode or explode. So it's a process of growth and awareness within ourselves. And so I would notice like I guess you could call it an inner saboteur would, right? And I've seen this with many people actually wanting to do a cleanse, and it just you either half ass it, or you just never really get the full thing done. You're missing the main key component or herb, uh, right? And it never really works out. You maybe do the cleanse and you're not supposed to eat bread or something like that, because that's feed the parasites, and you eat bread while you're doing the cleanse, and it just never worked, right? So it's a process. It is a process, and you have to be easy. Well, you have to be both strict and unity in self, right? And be compassionate with yourself, because that's what this is all about. Being compassionate to yourself. Uh, Also in itself, being compassionate to them, because that's their nature. That is their nature. They don't necessarily see you as like, oh, we trying to destroy you or whatever the case may be. That's their lifestyle. But if you want to move up to a higher frequency, you want to change your planet system within your system, your body, right? You have to vacate them. If some of them want to stay, because they have their own high-rise levels as well, just like the galactics and stuff that may be on the other polarity, they have their other components as well in the multiverse. So yeah, give them a choice. Always give them a choice. And you, even in that process, that thought process, you may see a complete shift in your own mindset system, your awareness. Your body might feel different just from that choice alone. Like, give them a choice. Say, yo, like, I wish to go higher. I wish to move into my alignments, my evolution. um I choose not to partake in these lower frequencies that they may want to partake in. And you have a choice whether to, and you give them a choice whether they want to raise their frequency or tell them to leave. Right? And put up that petition to your higher self, to your higher consciousness, to the source. And I trust and believe that that's where it is, that's what's happening, that's what's happening. Just believing is seeing. Believe it. Know that it is so. Right? So I just wanted to do that just a quick, I don't know how long I've been on here now, but I'll do another video bringing some solutions to the whole thing. I'm gonna try my best to explain some of the herbs, some of the things that I did and went through my process. I'm gonna try to link. There's a colon cleanse product, which is where I got like the blueprints for my herbs and stuff from, the idea from. I'm gonna try to put a link below in the description for that as well. Excuse me, but yeah. So yeah, we're in it. We're in it. We're transforming. We're changing. We're evolving. We're seeing the cleansing process of the planet. I've noticed it gets a lot easier with a cleansed vessel for the energy to come through. Because what happens is the energy basically comes in. If it hits a block, boom, it hits the block and it like projects out. So people literally seeing what inside of them system, their DNA that actually out of order. So it slapping and then it projecting. Whereas if the system clear, it can just weave through mesh. Things might expand and more beautitudes, opportunities will come up for you to, right, the realizations of yourself will open up. Right? So, but that's what I noticed personally for me. So, and the weirdest thing about, the interesting thing about, again, it depends on how strong your mind system is too. But I would notice, like, for example, like my system will be clear, and then I go and eat something that probably real dense or whatever the case may be. And then I would notice, like, certain things will come up that are either in the mind system or like certain interactions in the reality might change. Like I literally see, I'm aware of the changes in my projection field through my perceptions, right? Depending on what I actually allow inside of my field, my system, my body, my consciousness. I see the projection of it. And I'm sure a lot of you see it as well. It's just the awareness that is needed to be there in order to realize or recognize that that's what it is, right? Certain parasites, certain beings within your system keep certain people around you. And then when you cleanse your body, you will notice like, like some people just fall off. Like some people that they're just parasitic, toxic, just drop off your life. Like, because there is always a correspondence, and they show you that parasites, that certain bacteria interact with each other, interact with other parasites or bacteria inside of other people, right? So, whoa, buzzing here like a airplane. So yeah, so I'm gonna formulate another set of stuff there a little later, but this was, yeah, I just wanted to share that. I just felt good to share the continuation of that. So this is gonna be part 2. I'm gonna do a part 3. We're gonna go into the cleansings, the herbs that I use. Again, I'm gonna link a colon cleanse kit at the bottom of in the description. And then we're gonna go into my favorite stage, the rebuild stage, using the meta materials, using the monatomics, using the using high mineral foods, right? Alkaline foods, using stuff like Shilajit that I would have mentioned in one of my previous videos before, utilizing certain trace minerals, trace elements, colloidal silvers, your colloidal golds, copper, right? Iridium. These things activate, no, they call them the lightning fuel. They activate the system. They allow the system to run at an efficient level, channeling in your frequencies from a higher force, from your higher force into your physical vessel, into your avatar system. So we're going to go into that. That's a lot of fun. I love that topic. Yeah, it's really, it's a lot of fun. I love going into the rebuild phase. I've always been into that, like the upgrading systems in terms of the energetics. Not fully, I wasn't really fully a fan of the clearings of certain energies, but we know that we have to go through that clearing cycle in order to build on a stronger foundation, essentially build on a new foundation of balance and awareness of high minerals and high electricity. We're electrical beings, we're quantum beings, so we need that lightning fuel, that quantum fuel, right? So yeah, we're gonna go into that, right? So this is the end of part 2. So wholeness, everybody. I appreciate your support, right? Say welcome again to new viewers, new subscribers. Yeah, we're moving forward with this. So wholeness.